Welcome back for Racing Weekly's preview of the Cheltenham Festival 2025. Looking ahead to the Gold Cup day. This programme brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. Alongside me, Steve Ryder, Willy Twiston-Davies, Pat Cooney and Gavin Lynch. And of course, this is the climax of the whole meeting. And this is the one that everyone has been waiting for. We will get to the Gold Cup in good time. But we're going to start off with a race that has actually proved quite exciting, the build-up. And that is the Triumph Hurdle. Gavin, I'll start with you. East India Dock and Lulamba, both horses could conceivably start favourite for any of the most recent renewals of the race. It's great that both are lining up this year.
Absolutely, yeah. East India Dock has been electric on the clock the last twice. Course and distance, jumps brilliant, stays better, less complicated than Burdett Road, the half-brother from last year. He's a gorgeous horse, stays really well, and that's what you've got to do. It's on the Friday track, as we know. It's the new course, takes a lot of staying. It's 2 miles one, which is a marathon journey for a 4-year-old. So he's got a massive chance. Lulamba, the form was let down since from Ascot, but still he had a little bit of a wow about him, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that the stable absolutely love him. I wouldn't discount Hello Neighbour totally. Very keen at Christmas, didn't jump particularly well. Keith probably made too much use of him. And then the last day learnt to hold up the horse a lot later. When he gets to the last, you think he's going to win by 4 lengths, but he didn't. So that's probably a small worry. I'd say Keith will track Lulamba because, again, similar to Feet of a Dancer, has to come really, really late, I'd say, Hello Neighbour. So I'd imagine Keith will let Nico take him into the race. You like Galileo Dame, perhaps if our jumping holds up a little bit better. But I think the 2 English will take a bit of beating. At least Hello Neighbour's an each-way price, which is fair enough. So I think it's probably tricky.
Okay. What do you like here, Pat?
I can imagine that 2 English trainers of the front 2 in the market in a race at Cheltenham.
It's like the old days.
Yeah. East India Dock, again, we've got time gurus in the office. They're all over him, but you know where to find him. He's going to be bowling along, making it a thorough test. Lulamba was quite interesting because the day he won at Ascot, there was all the talk that he'd beaten John Bon in a gallop. And John Bon's one of the best workers they have. And the stable never denied it. They never confirmed it. But we were always left with, well, he's going to be pretty good. And he won really well, and he flew up the Ascot run in that day. And the speed guru said, the last furlong. I just think on balance, Lulamba's probably the better horse of the 2. Lulamba was favourite immediately after that race, around about 7-4, which I thought at the time, when they texted me, I said, really? 7-4? And but as Gav says, the form has been let down since by the Gary Moore horse. But I think he won really, really well that day. I think into East India Dock Road, it's a perfectly decent horse. Lulamba's better. If one of these 2 is going to have champion hurdle aspirations, it's Lulamba for certain. Nico de Bonneville has confirmed he will ride it. It was a bit of debatable. He might ride Palladium. With Palladium, bizarrely, I think that he might be done over hurdles this season because he was bought to have a flat campaign. And the Melbourne Cup even got a mention. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where we are with that one. But Palladium, I suppose, is going to be popular. I just think Lulamba's the best horse in the race. There we are. I think he should be favourite as well.
All right. But at least it's closely matched between the 2 of them, Willie.
Yeah, no. As for Palladium, I couldn't have him at all. He was a big price when he won his German derby, and actually the rest of his form didn't stack up much. I think he's probably... Look, he'd love to have a Group 1 winner yarding the colt. Like if we got sent the horse, I'd love to have him, but he looks very overrated to me. I liked Hello Neighbour. I thought he looked good in Ireland, but for me, standout is East India. I know Sam's riding it, but we don't train it, obviously, but he is so talented. I think Pat is right. Lulamba, and if I wanted a long-term horse, I'd probably have him.
Yeah.
But I think for what the Triumph's going to be, East India Dock ticks all the boxes. His times have been good. He's run to a level. I watched a podcast the other day. All his stats are lining up to say he'd win a Triumph off his runs already. Yeah. So I think he probably will still improve. He's improved with each run. And I don't think he actually needs to improve to win it.
Yeah.
I think 2 mile 1 in the old course, he looks like an outback. Lulamba looks very leggy and tall and got a frame to grow into, whereas Easted on it looks like a here and now horse. And I think that's what you want, like something like an Arconnor. He went and won, and then he was never turned into a champion hurdle horse. But on the day, on the Friday of the Cheltenham, is that their Gold Cup? It probably is East India Docks. I think it's very hard to not see him going off favourite.
Okay, East India Dock then for Willie and Sam. And what about you, Steve?
I'd probably see this race a bit differently if they're all the same price, but you hear it a lot. But I do think Hello Neighbour's probably an each way bet to nothing. I think Sam on East India Dock is going to have a massive target on his back, and I think he's just going to pull Keith Donoghue into the race. I'll bore you with some more trends. 9 of the last 12 winners were trained in Ireland. 9 of the last 16 were unbeaten. And the big one is the fact
But
that...
Manjo, I do think, I might be wrong, but I think Sam's said something, James Erner probably killed. I think they're going to run a pacemaker. So I don't think East India Dock will be doing the donkey work.
Okay.
I think OPEC might make the running, or I think Sam mentioned, I think they'll have a pacemaker.
Wow.
So I don't think that Sam won't be doing the donkey work. He'll be having a good toe. So that makes a sway if you're thinking.
That's why they entered Lavender Hill Mob.
I think that could be happening, yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. I think Hello Neighbour, Gav touched on the fact that he doesn't win by very far, but even on the flat, he didn't win by very far. I think he's rated 97 and achieved that rating in only 2 starts on the flat when he's won. He's 4 from 4. I was really, really impressed with the way that he progressed from Christmas to the Dublin Racing Festival. A lot of people thought that Willie Mullins, Lady Vega LM would improve past him, but she didn't. He was excellent at the Dublin Racing Festival.
And just to say, the last, maybe, I'm not sure if that was going to be on your list, Steve, the last 4 winners of the Triumph ran in the Spring Juvenile hurdle. So just to mention that as well.
It's actually 9 of the last 13 as well. So it's incredibly impressive as a race, as a trial for this.
Indeed. Obviously, I mentioned, and I know you've mentioned as well, Gav, Galileo Damon's in this, and I thought she would be in each way, play whatever race she runs in, but I'm hoping she goes for the mare's race. East India Dock's been brilliant, and I think he is the now horse. Lulamba, I could see him developing into sort of, obviously not quite as, but a sort of chaser, Tsugino-esque next season, maybe. Who knows? The mare's chase is the next race we'll look at, and a couple of old favourites. Pat, Dino Blue, Allegory de Vassy, horses that have been there before, not done it before, but at least they're going back.
Yeah, and they served up a thriller when they met recently, didn't they? Dino Blue and Allegory. Not much between them all.
The width of the track between them.
Absolutely, yeah. Dino Blue, she's 11:08 with us at the moment. I get it, the weights, the form and everything else, but I could open my racing paper tomorrow and find horses also at 11:08 or snooker matches or dart matches and say, yeah, that's better value than that.
Are you going to Benidorm by any chance?
So the race actually leaves me a little bit cold. 2:40 on a Friday. Should it not be one sort of park near at the end of the card? I don't know. Doesn't thrill me, the race anyway. But from we're here for the markets really. Only by Night has been popular for Gavin Cromwell. She's won her last 3 races handily enough. She was 8. She's now 6-1. I could see her shortening up. But if you said to me, Dino Blue, what do you want to do, lay or play? I think you'd have to take her on.
Okay. I know this is another mare's race. Willie, what do you?
Another mare's race, yeah. Should be having a great patch. Should be at the end of the card. I'd just be interested to see whatever Gavin Cromwell runs and gets well supported. He always does very well with these mares. Good record around Cheltenham. Willie's horse probably looks a bit too short in the market. Gavin's got a good record in the race. I think he does very, very well with mares, and he's always done very well on Cheltenham. So whatever he runs and is well supported, I keep an eye on. But yeah, I wouldn't have a strong opinion.
Only by Night then, perhaps. What about you?
Yeah, the fact that Only by Night comes here slightly scuppers the fact that I like Bride's Hill for this. She's just a mare that wants the quicker ground for Gavin Cromwell. I'd be against Limerick Lace. She just seems really sour this year. I don't particularly like Dino Blue or Allegory de Vassy. If you like Allegory de Vassy, then go back and watch the run at Punchestown at the end of last season. Bride's Hill beat her by about 25 lengths. Really impressive. I know she's been beaten on her 2 starts already this season, but I'm just hoping that they've been stepping stones to this. And finally, she'll get her ground in this race, and she's around 12-1.
This feels like a race for some fresh players in the mares chasing scene, isn't it?
Yeah, some of these have been around before. Allegory de Vassy has tried twice to win this race. It seems unfair to me that Dino Blue has to carry 11.7 and a lot of the others carry 11 stone too. So just to make everybody aware that she has to carry more weight than the rest. Some of the down-runners, Spindleberry and Bioluminescence won't go. I don't think Limerick Lace has fallen out of love with the game. I definitely have massive respect for Bride's Hill on good ground. But I think Telepathique is slightly underestimated. 10 or 12-1. She beat Bride's Hill the last day. Now, she's worse off at the weights at Cheltenham than the last day, but she jumped a long way out to her left, going right-handed at Huntingdon. This is going left-handed, so that won't be an issue. Just at 10 or 12-1, I think she seems to be an improving mare, and she certainly put Bride's Hill in her place the last day, who was odds on, so she might have a squeak at a big price.
Okay. I'll have a play on Only by Night in the mare's chase, just a different name and a horse that's still progressing, I think. The Albert Bartlett Novices. I'll come to you here, Willie. Obviously, once again, it's the Irish horses, the Yellow Clay, the big Westerner, who obviously be getting weight. Do you have a strong fancy here?
Yeah, the big Westerners look good. I thought, well, contradict myself slightly because I don't think the shallow form's worked out, but I know Jamie Snowden's been very keen on that Wendigo. And he looks like a workman-like horse and a dour stayer. Like at a big price, he could run well because a lot of the ones in the market might not run. Jet Blue looked okay when he was over here.
Yeah.
Will he back it up? I don't know. But Wendigo be worth an each way poke, I think.
Yeah, I quite like that. I like the fact he dropped back in trip to have his prep run as well. What do you like here, Steve?
I'm kind of going for one with the old style Albert Bartlett profile, I suppose. 12 of the last 20 winners have run 4 times or more. So the sexy kind of 2.5 milers stepping up in trip don't seem to actually pay off in this race. Flicker of Hope has ran 10 times, brings solid handicap hurdle form into this. Has actually won 4 times, which probably means a lot in this race going forward. Finished third, beaten only a couple of lengths by Percival Lagawa at the Dublin Racing Festival in a hot handicap. He's around 14 to 1. I thought that was quite a big price for an experienced horse in an Albert Bartlett.
Okay, what about you, Gav?
I like the big Westerner. She was a much bigger price, a couple of weeks ago. I think she's 5 to 1 now, but that's because it looks like the Yellow Clay is going to the Turner's Novice Hurdle instead, because he'd be a big danger. But I think she's a smashing mare. She's a gorgeous big type, wins a punch down, goes to Limerick in that race. A lot of the time in the Bartlett, the reason why on average the last 10 winners have been 20 to 1 or more is that we all love these 2.5 milers. Something like the Yellow Clay, when he gets 3 miles, he'll love it and he'll improve, and they don't. It's a marathon journey for a novice hurdler, 3 miles on the new track. It's crazy. They turn in and the guts of 3 furlongs up that hill. Like, it's an absolute dour test. And I think she's a lovely mare to have won over that trip already, basically at Limerick. She beats Mozzie's sister, who was third to final demand, so the form is fine. They were just going too slow for her. The whole way around, she's pulling in Limerick because I think she's a class act. No mare has won this race, but very few have tried that were less than 20 to 1 shots, so I wouldn't hold that against her. Henry's are back in form. That was the worry a couple of weeks ago, but they seem to be back in form. Another winner again today. So I think the big Westerner 5 to 1 is very, very solid. Jet Blue would have a chance. I'd have respect, certainly, for Flicker of Hope. Just to say about final demand, until today, really, I think it's been nailed on. He's definitely going for the Turners. There seems to be like a 10% chance now based on exchanges and stuff today. But anyway, if he doesn't, he'd win it. But if he doesn't go, the big Westerner, I think, is okay value at 5 to 1. Pat?
Yeah, if I had to make a selection, it would be the big Westerner, but she goes against the stats, really. She's only had the 3 runs in her career, but she's getting the weight. I know it's on a mare's race. But I'll give you a word of caution on this race from a bookmaking performance point of view. This is the best race that there is for bookmakers in the entire Cheltenham Festival. Not just the winners, which, as Gav says, you regularly get 20 to 1. This is a play spot buster as well. Right. You see the first 3 cross the line and you go, well, that's me out. But it used to be the first race on the Friday. So anything goes in this race. Don't be afraid to back a horse, as Steve said. There's had plenty of races. Looks a slow old boat, but they're the ones that are still there when you look up, 30 seconds later. But the most talented horse in the race, I guess, would be the big Westerner, but she's got to overcome some stats that suggest otherwise. Don't be afraid to throw in a couple of 50 to 1 chances each way here.
All right, good info. I like Wendigo each way. I think he'll run well. And then we come to the Gold Cup. Galopin de Champs going for 3 in a row to follow the footsteps of Best Mate. Is Galopin a penalty kick for this year's Gold Cup, considering the likely composition of the field?
I struggle to see why not, really. He's looked so good the last twice. And, like what we both said earlier, we were hoping Factor File could get up to him, but maybe Galopin de Champs is just that good, and he is. If he wasn't there, he'd have won these Grade 1s. He jumps well. He's very... he just wins.
There's not many aspects of his racing style, his racing career that you can look at and say, oh, there's a doubt about this, there's a doubt about that. It's the real issue why if you had a horse like Factor, where you go, let's avoid Gold Cup and avoid Galopin de Champs.
I feel a bit bad because we spent about 15 minutes on the Champion Hurdle and it's such an exciting race, and you've got a brilliant racehorse in Galopin de Champs, and you can't really say a lot around the race. I mean, he is just unbelievable going left-handed over fences. He should be unbeaten in his 10 starts. His only defeat came when falling in the Turners, when miles clear of Bob Ollinger. Like, the drying ground, I suppose, will give people hope that Banbridge could get close to him, but I can't have him getting anywhere near Galopin Des Champs. He'll probably look at danger coming down the hill, and then Galopin Des Champs, as always, will just power clear up the hill. I absolutely love the horse, and I'll be giving him a good roar without a penny on.
Yeah. Gav, you've been saying at different junctures through the evening that there'll be races that you're just happy to watch and not have a strong view on. Is this one of those that you just watch Galopin?
Probably. I think there's only 3 horses worth talking about, and one of them's not even entered yet. Galopin Des Champs, Banbridge will be second if the ground is good. I know the way you're thinking. If the ground came up soft, which is now unlikely, but if he was supplemented, I think he would definitely be second. Like, it's not a great race. When you see Monty Star and Corbett's Cross 12-1 shots, they're mad beatable. So I think, as Steve said, Galopin Des Champs, he should be 10 from 10 going left-handed. I know when he gets beat a punch down, it's the first run of the season, so he might think he's not fit. And then it's the last run of the season, he's over the top. I think it's just left-handed, right-handed thing, to be honest. I think he's amazing going left-handed, and doesn't matter if he makes the running or sits second and third. When in his novice campaign, he was quite keen. Like, he basically put in first time over fences in Leopardstown over 2 miles 5. It was the best beginner's chase performance I've seen in a long, long time. And he was quite buzzy that year. And I remember asking Ruby Walsh on a preview panel, what are you going to do for next year for the Gold Cup? He said, we're just going to have to teach him to settle. So the following year, they taught him to settle. And then he ended up settling so much. Now they want him to make the running. So look, I think he's an amazing racehorse. We should really treasure him at the minute. I think he'll win this year. And all the talk next year will be to see can he go for 4, hopefully. But he'll be 10 and it'll be great.
It will be great. Pat, anything can stop him?
Not opposition-wise, but every time I watch him run, he puts his heart into every race, doesn't he? And I know it will be 41 days since he last ran when we get to Gold Cup Day, but he puts a lot in, doesn't he? He's out there, he's in front a long way out. That'd be my only thing, but he's been brilliantly campaigned. He's 8-15 at the moment. To me, I think he's a 3-1 on chance because Banbridge, will he stay? Don't know. Corbett's Cross, I know people are quite keen on him, but does he jump well enough? I don't know. Again, by elimination, you have to say he'll win. And I don't think the bookmakers will be going against him here. I think this will be one where we'll say, look, he is the likely winner. Let's not get too silly and go like 6-4 on or anything. It'd be remiss of me not to mention the Real Whacker because I was with his connections at Kelso. And they like a party pre-race, so God knows what it's going to be like if the Real Whacker wins. But Paddy Neville said, the horse is in great form. Brian Hughes rides, and he's not an each way bet because I'm sure he'll either win or blow out. But betting without the favourite markets and so forth. But he's in fine form, and good ground is ideal for him. But I'm going all 4 days. Normally I tend to skip the Friday, but I want to be here to see this fellow win his 3rd Gold Cup.
So you're going to win on the other 6 races except for this one on the Friday. But what's interesting with Galopin Des Champs is every time I was in Leopardstown when he won the last day, and people were getting mad excited come to the last. They think there's a race on. There's no race on. They're coming up behind him, and the same will happen in the Gold Cup. They'll come to 2 out. They might even come to the last where there's a couple of horses within a length, and you think, are they going to beat him? They're not going to beat him. He'll end up pulling away and he'll win by 4 lengths. So just not trying to spoil the moment, but I think
nothing comes up the hill better than he does.
Yeah, I think he's an amazing racehorse.
The depths of courage that he shows when they start turning on the screws in the Gold Cup has been magnificent the last couple of years, and it's very hard to see anything else getting near him. Just out of interest, just to change the subject a little bit outside of Cheltenham, there's lots of chat recently about, even hearing Nigel talking about Imperial Commander, comparing him with Corto and Denman and Galopin Des Champs. I mean, that's the level that we're talking about with Galopin up there with Corto, Imperial Commander, Denman, Best Mate. If I gave you those 5, who would you pick?
Where are we racing?
Yeah, is it the Gold Cup?
The Gold Cup.
Like, I absolutely adored Cato Star, right? But was he really at his best at Cheltenham?
2009 was pretty impressive.
You know what I mean? But at Kempton, he'd be unbeatable.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
He'd be absolutely.
This race wouldn't be at Kempton because he'd get it.
It'd be, everybody in the world would say that he.
Okay, so
at Cheltenham at 3 miles 2, good to soft ground.
Commander has to be. Your man was stuffed, fell behind him. Corto. Denman did everything he could to beat him. That was as good a Gold Cup. Like, I know he didn't have the heights then, but that was as good a Gold Cup as I remember.
Okay,
I know it's a bit biased, but that was so impressive the way he pulled clear of Denman.
Yeah.
It was like a dour stare and in good form at the time.
The one thing I'd say about Galopin Des Champs is we actually still don't know how good he is. Because if a horse keeps winning and winning and winning, if a horse did happen to come at him, I think he could find even more again. So if he was against those horses, I think it could even be better again. So I'd go for him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like if he didn't run at Punchestown at the start and the end of the year, like people would think he's better than Corto Star just because he's beaten twice a year at tracks that don't suit.
Yeah.
I don't think he is getting quite to that level. But Corto was something different. I'd probably go with him.
Galloping had beat the lot of them.
Wow. Okay. This is the view. Who's got anybody fancy anybody in that? Corto, Denman, Galopin, Imperial Commander, and Bestmate. Who would be the best of that? Any votes for Corto? Galopin? Corto? Denman? No one? Imperial Commander? Bestmate? Album Photo? No?
Like overall, Cato Star was the better horse. He wins at Tingle Creek. He kicked these out of the way over 2.5 miles. He'd beat them in Kempton. So there's lots of reasons one place he would beat them in different trips. But just in a Gold Cup, I think Galopin would outstay him.
Quarter Star was an unbelievable horse to do what he did that one season, going from 2 miles, 3 miles. Like, there's no doubt about it. He was a legend, but he can't knock Galopin to Shumps either now.
No, but it's great. That
but do you think Quarter was beating better horses, though?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'm not sure. Like this Gold Cup, hopefully Galopin Shump wins. You can't go, oh, that was a vintage Gold Cup, can you?
No.
Like you said Monty Star at 12-1. Well, that wouldn't even win a Brown. Well, did it win a Brown? No, exactly. It wasn't even good enough. Yeah.
But it's funny, at the start of the season, we were all saying it's going to be a brilliant Gold Cup.
Did we?
Galopin wasn't even favourite for the Gold Cup at the start of the season.
Yeah, and after Punchestown, he was 4-1. So there you go.
Yeah, things change all the time. Okay, there are some other very good races on the final day, including a couple of intriguing handicaps, the County, the Martin Pipe. You look like you're ready to kick us off.
Going to start with the County.
Okay, go.
You have to put your fog goggles on for Christmas.
Okay.
And have a look at Lark in the Morning. I'm sure people have seen it. It was last at halfway. You don't see it, then you see it, then you don't see it. Jumped the second last, basically in last place. Ended up switching up the inside. And look, he won the Boodles last year of 122 and up to 130. He's got £2 last Tuesday. I think he's going to run a massive race. 7-1. I think he'll go off clear favourite unless Kopek to me runs, but I think he's going for the Martin Pipe.
Yep.
So yeah, I think Lark in the Morning is a massive chance at the County Hurdle.
Lark in the County. Okay, anything else?
The Hunter's Chase, will it go ahead if the ground was decent? He's an amazing jumper. He's as good a jumper as you'll see for the week. And he'd have a squeak each way at 5-1. And then in the Martin Pipe, a shootout of the OK Corral between Kopek to me and Woodhoo. Fair enough, the two favourites. I wonder, is there any chance that Woodhoo might end up in the Mayor's Hurdle, maybe with brighter days ahead going that way, but going to the champion? The rumours are that Kopek to me is a super horse, and if Woodhoo doesn't run, I could see him going off. We said here last year about the Kimure that another way you're thinking wouldn't go off 3-1, he'd go off 13-8. If Woodhoo doesn't go to the Martin Pipe, I could see Kopek to me maybe going off 2-1, 9-4 perhaps.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the buzz horse of the handicaps is Kopek to me. You do look at his English mark of 136, and you can find various lines of form which you could put him at 150. He could easily have a stone in hand. Now, we had this with Gaelic Warrior, didn't he? When he ran in the handicap, well, he jumped to the right to most of his hurdles. I think he went off about 11-8 or something amazingly short, and he only just got done on the line that day. It looks as though the stars are aligned for this fella here. Who'll ride him, I don't know. But whoever is on him has got could be a handicap good thing. It's amazing it's the last race of the meeting, and it could be a race where the whole sky caves in and we're all looking at the one horse in particular. So he's very much of interest, Kopek to me. I just hope we're all in front come that race.
Okay. Willie, anything else on that final day?
No, we've got one nice horse in that same race. Obviously, I'm very interested to see where Kopek to me goes when we're at the Cheltenham weights. That's what the handicapper said was the one horse that was the hardest to judge.
Yeah.
And that he could be thrown in. But our horse,
Push the button
in that, could run well. He was second in a 75 grand handicap in the Winter Millions. Ran back too soon at Exeter on horrible ground, trying to get him qualified for the per temps, just trying to keep our options open. But it's like the last week or so, he's really come to form. He's been very lightly raced this year. I still think he's quite well handicapped off his mark. I think come next year, he could turn into a Gal Road horse, being like the late 140s.
Okay.
But 2 mile 5 on the new course could suit him well. He's a big price.
Push the button in the Martin Pipe. Steve?
Yeah, my two have kind of already been mentioned. I really like Lark in the Morning for the County. The only caveat is he's 45 on the list, a maximum of 26, but Obviously, loads of these have entries in the Coral Cup and the Martin Pipe, so hopefully he then gets in. Pat's actually been really quite nice. There's a no runner, no bet and an ante-post market at the minute, and ante-post Lark in the Morning is still 10-1. He'll go off at least half that on the day. Kept on running, never nearer to challenge is exactly the way to describe that run in the fog last time. And then I just really like Woodoo for the Martin Pipe. Everyone's kind of clocked on to the boosts in the form. She's 6 from 6 over hurdles. She was ridden by Danny Gilligan last time, which is a huge positive in this. We've just said we don't know who Copette de May is going to be ridden by. We know exactly who's going to ride Woodoo. She beat Joya. She's now £19 higher. Take No Chances was third, now £3 higher, having beaten Cargies in a Grade 2 at Ascot. Fourth that day was Royal Margot. She won a listed mare's hurdle at Warwick and is now £6 higher. Woodoo, I thought unfairly was put up by the UK handicapper £6 or £5 up to 141. But yeah, I still think there's loads and loads of scope in her rating, and she's 8-1. And yeah, she's not going to be out of the frame.
Okay. Let's get your best selections on the final day, Gavin.
They were very lucky it was foggy at Christmas. Lark in the Morning each way in the county.
Lark in the Morning.
Patience is a virtue, so lucky last race for us. Copette de May. I like the idea he could have at least a stone in hand.
Okay.
I'll go East India Dock in the Triumph.
Steve?
I'll go Lark in the Morning as well in the county. Yeah, I really like it. But yeah, I'm strong on Hello Neighbour and Woodoo as well.
Yeah. I can definitely add to the Lark in the Morning. We all watch the race, or try to watch as much of it as we can at Christmas time. I'm going to give Wendigo an each way chance. It's a race that often throws up a little bit of a surprise result, the Albert Bartlett, and I like the way he's been campaigned, and not far off the best over 2.5 mile, at least British horses. So Wendigo stepping up in trip for the Albert Bartlett. We'll get to our best bets of the whole week, I think, if we can. Would you like to go first, Steve?
No, you can go to Willy first.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm hoping that Willy is going to go with what we wanted to go for.
Broadway Boy and the Ultima.
Just remind people of why Broadway Boy is the best of the week for you.
Just because I think he's second in the Hennessy would be good enough to win. Steve said all his stats are aligned. He loves the course. His work's been good. There's just very little negatives about him. It's a British race. I don't really like the favourite in the Changing Man. I think he's been beaten well enough off his mark, whereas I think Broadway Boy he's got scope off his mark. He's proven he can run to the late 150s, and he's off 150, and I don't think it's the one probably Cheltenham Festival handicap where you don't have to have too much in hand to win. And I think luckily I do think he has got plenty in hand.
Okay, Broadway Boy then and the Ultima. Steve, you're smiling because I presume that's what you wanted to go for, but Willy has earned the right to take it.
Yep, I'm going Broadway Boy in the Ultimate. Okay. We're all in.
Okay, Pat?
I'll go for Jericho de Repede in the Potemps. And I tell you what, I will be interested to see how many winners JP McManus will have at the meeting, because
you had 3 on Thursday.
Just about most of all the handicaps, he's going to possibly have the market leader. So I'll go out on a limb here and say he could have 8 winners at the meeting.
Okay. Have you put a market up on that yet?
Probably will be one, yeah. Okay. But it'd be interesting to see. There'll be so many races where he's going to have the front couple in the market.
All right. Keep the fingers on the Bet365 website. You'll get some interesting markets appearing. How many winners will JP have, along with the Pressbury Cup and all that? Mm-hmm. What about you, Gav? Best bet of the week?
I'd like horses like Now Is the Hour, the Wall Park, if he goes in the Pertemps, just to annoy you. And I'd go for Lark in the Morning, maybe each way in the county on the Friday.
Okay. Annoyingly, the 2 horses that I really want to... Well, hang on.
Breaking news, top owner market with Bet365, JP McManus, 1-5. Well done, Pat.
There you go.
You
put a lot of effort into that.
You better start some handicap betting for that. The 2 horses that I really like this coming Cheltenham Festival that I like to play at prices, one is Galileo Dame, the other is the Wall Park. Galileo Dame, still not sure whatever race she runs in, but if she runs in the mare's race, I'll probably be stronger than I will if she runs in the Triumph. And the Wall Park, if he actually runs in the stayers, I'll be stronger than if he runs in the Potemps. So those are the 2 horses that I'm playing and I'm most excited about all week. Thank you all very much for being part of our Cheltenham Festival preview. Just before we close it off, do we have any questions from anyone? Anyone feels like they've want to pick up on any idiotic things that we might have said, like the Wall Park for 2 races? If anyone hasn't got any questions, we can tidy it up and just wish you all the very best of luck. Wish you all the best of luck with your runners in particular, Willy, especially Broadway boy. Steve, thank you very much. You're down there all 4 days?
Yeah, and I might be worse for wear on the Wednesday if Willy and I are out on Tuesday night.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope that you and Willy look like Willy does right now. Pat, I presume you're there all 4 days.
Yeah, I just hope I get the trip.
Okay. And Gav, you'll be watching.
I will, yeah. No, I'll be at home, and I might head out on the Friday. But just to say, I think it's fantastic that the Supreme is the Michael O'Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurdle. I think that's a lovely touch from everybody involved.
Yeah. Always a poignant moment when that happens on the Tuesday, and I hope the races run and we have a wonderful renewal of the Supreme Novices Hurdle to set us up for a fabulous week. Thank you all very much for joining us here at the Drayton Court Hotel in Ealing, for joining us for this episode of Racing Weekly, looking ahead to the Cheltenham Festival. This program, of course, brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. If you like what you've heard or watched in any of our previous episodes, or indeed any of these 4 previewing the Cheltenham Festival, then please leave a kind review on the Apple Podcasts or the comment section on YouTube. Like I've said before, we do enjoy engaging with you all. And the chap who asked where I got my glasses from last time, I forgot to reply to that. It's from Echo, whatever that means. But I did look at the label. So thank you all very much. Have a great Cheltenham Festival. Play it well. I hope that the winners that we all think will win. But most of all, I hope that the clashes are brilliant. And when the races are run, when we get to Friday evening, we remember all the action from the Cheltenham Festival for a very long time. From the Racing Weekly team, thank you and have a great Cheltenham Festival 2025.